What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Sinister-Cast, a podcast where I talk about music, my channel, and things going on in my life. So if you're new, consider subscribing. Now today, we have a very special episode. We have something new that we've never done before on Sinister-Cast, and I think you guys are going to like it. But before we get started, I have a question for you guys. A lot of you guys had mentioned that I should create a Patreon, and that some of you would become patrons and stuff like that. But the thing I need to know is, what would you guys want as rewards for becoming patrons? I've already got some ideas and stuff that I figured I would implement anyways, but I would like to know what you guys would want so I can pertain to your needs and make it worthwhile. So let me know down in the comments, and let's continue on. So today we have a special guest, our first guest on Sinister-Cast ever. This man is a drummer. You've seen him on I think maybe one video actually, and that was probably one of the old Dose of
Mary Had a
Metals.
Little Lamb.
Yeah, and Mary Had a Little Lamb, the debut video for Sinister Bunny Studios. He was the drummer in that video. And without further ado, this is Mr. Daniel. So, what's up?
Nothing much, man. Just woke up an hour ago. What's up?
So, tell the people who you are and what you enjoy doing.
Okay, so my name's Daniel. I play drums and various other instruments, but to Virgil, I'm the drummer. So I've been playing since my dad says since I was 2, but I doubt that I was actually playing that young. I've probably started to seriously pick up a kit at the age of 8, and yeah, here we are now. So that's been cool.
Man. Well, I hope you guys don't hear that too much. I moved a fan on my camera just in case this goes super long. Just like yesterday's video if you haven't already checked it out. But yeah. So he's been the drummer for a lot of the cover. He did, let's see, Mary Had a Little Lamb and was a big one. That's one of my more popular ones. And then he was on Jaws too when I did the Jaws theme song. And that one's actually pretty popular as well.
I was on 2 of the Dose of Metals.
Yeah, he was, let's see. When I first did the Dose of Metals on my old channel, I think I did the first one with some super, super shitty, fake drums. They weren't, EQ'd or anything. It was just super electronic. It should have been, industrial metal. And then after that, the second and third one is what he jumped in on and played for. And I think you might be in one or both of those playing. I know at least one of them you were in. And then I just did recently a revival episode of the series, and that was not him. But the thing is, it's hard. It's hard when, because we don't live near each other or anything, and I don't have a kit. He doesn't have a kit that's just so easily maneuverable, so it's not like we can just meet up and have stuff recorded and do all that stuff. So we got to do a lot of sending back and forth, and that gets difficult at times because I work and have school, he works and has school, and it's just scheduling conflicts, and it's not as easy. But so let's talk about how we met. So, and if I might be wrong, but this is how I remember it. Okay, so it was back in high school when I was in high school, and he was friends with my younger brother before me. They knew each other before I knew him. He knew me, but he used to. Well, you used to come in when you would hang out with my brother, and watch me play guitar and stuff, didn't you? I swear to God, you did. Was that you or was that your brother?
I think I did that once, and then another time your dad overheard me saying something about guitar, and he was like, "Oh, my son plays guitar." And then he made me play on your guitar in front of you.
Oh, yeah. Did he? I don't remember that.
Yeah, you were... Yeah, it was... Oh, I think it was one of Robert's birthdays, because that's all I've ever seen you was when Robert would have birthdays.
It might have been, yeah. I just remember a couple times where you or your brother came in and just kind of sat in there, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And I would just be practicing Megadeth.
That was
or whatever.
Probably me.
Yeah. Anyway, so in high school, I think I mentioned you guys before. I was on drumline in marching band, and so we were having tryouts, and this guy that you're looking at right now was one of the people trying out, and a lot of the tryouts were in these separate private rooms aside from the actual band room. And in the band room, you had all your chairs and all that stuff, but then there was also a drum set. And I remember he hopped on the drum set and started playing stuff. And at that time, I had been dealing with someone else who was a very just normal plain drummer. They were nothing special. They just were a drummer. It was simple stuff. They weren't anything crazy good. But then I heard him playing, and I remember, I think I came up to you and was like, we got to jam, or there's something like that. Like we ended up talking, and we were like, yeah, we got to jam sometime, right?
I think so, yeah. It
was
was in band class.
Yeah, it was something along
And then
those
I got
lines.
your number, and I think it was like 2 weeks after that we actually got together for the
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah, and then we got together, and then we actually started jamming and stuff, and thus created a whole thing. So then we became some friends, and then we created a band, and we started recording stuff and doing cover. Well, we did a lot of covers at first. I think most bands end up doing that. Did a lot of covers at first, and then we moved on to writing our own stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, if you want to give me a sec, I have a little notebook over there that have our first lyrics for our first couple songs.
Pull it out.
Okay, I'll be
That
right
sounds
back.
very wrong. Get it out. Yeah. Okay. So you guys, yeah, he's a phenomenal drummer, and yeah, he's just crazy stuff. That's why I picked him out right away, because I was like, holy shit, he's really good. So that's kind of why I was like, ding, he needs to be my drummer, and that's kind of what sparked the interest in getting together and creating a band. So
Okay, I think from what I can see, there's only 3 songs on here.
okay, and these are some of the first ones we wrote. Because I kind of remember there being a couple.
This
notebooks.
one is the first one you wrote in C standard.
Oh, what one was that? Because I know I know what our first song written was, but I don't remember that it being in. That was Dark Days. I don't remember it being in C standard.
It wasn't Dark Days. It
Huh.
was a doom metal song.
Was it now?
Rising up,
Oh yeah.
falling down, risking all just to perish.
Oh yeah. I remember that now. Yeah.
This song actually had some,
Potential.
like, a really cool part right
Yeah.
after each verse going into the chorus.
Yeah, okay. So here's another thing too, you guys. We're sitting here talking about our band and the music we wrote and everything. And now I know I'm going to get some people saying, "Do you guys have anything out? Do you guys have any videos or songs recorded or anything?" No. We have some, I have some phone recordings. I'm sure he's got some as well. And that's pretty much all we have. We've been meaning to get on top of recording some of our stuff. And it's just like I said, with scheduling and having school and work and me running this channel and everything, it's very hard to have extra time to do stuff like that. But we've been meaning to do it, and if that's something you guys really want to see, then we can kind of push forward a little more. But yes, but that's weird. I thought, I mean, I've got a songbook sitting somewhere with most of our lyrics in it. I've got 2 songbooks, I believe, with a lot of our lyrics for our songs in there. But that's crazy. I didn't know it was. That's weird. But yeah, so it was basically, I went to his house with my guitar and my little PV practice amp, and he was on his electronic drum set, and his brother played bass. And we were the 3 amigos playing metal and stuff. And
Which one of the amigos was less of a metalhead and more of a 80s
yeah,
glam type of guy?
yeah, Daniel and I were more of like the heavy, like, yeah, that's some good heavy shit kind of guys. But then our bass player, his brother, was more of like Journey and Def Leppard and Poison and Cinderella and stuff like that. So it was kind of it was very interesting to deal with, if that makes any sense. But okay, so now I think, since we kind of implemented that into this, now I think we need to talk about the cryo show.
Ooh.
Okay, so at a certain point, Daniel and I decided that we wanted to make a YouTube channel. And I think I've talked about this to you guys before. We created a YouTube channel and started uploading weird videos and stuff to it. And I don't remember what some of the first... Okay, now I do. Yeah. We did something called the Cryo Show. We called it the Cryo Show because what we started was a stupid little talk show podcast type of situation. And yeah, it was like, I think I've said it before. We were trying to be like a heavy metal version of Good Mythical Morning type of thing, you know? And oh, it was just so terrible. And then we just did some random weird videos, and then, you know, it was terrible, okay? We'd have to go back and watch some of them at some point. They're just...
I remember exactly the first video where you had your little microphone that could record surround sound just stuck right in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, so, okay, the first episode we ever recorded was very awkward, very cringy, and it was, like, really quiet. It was in my room when I lived with my parents. I was using my Zoom H2N on a stand. It was very obviously in the frame of the video, and it was my old Sony DSH 300, and it recorded in like 720p, and that was like the same camera that you saw in some of the videos from yesterday's video. And it was terrible. It was a super low shot. It was like looking up at us, and we were super awkward. I had this stupid like lounge music playing, like some stupid jazzy lounge music playing in the background. Like it didn't fit. It didn't make any sense.
While we were talking about heavy metal.
Yeah, we're talking about heavy metal with some like elevator music in the background. Like it made absolutely no sense. But
I think it was just because it was a royalty free.
Yeah,
it
was like
whatever, this works.
Yeah, the first royalty free thing we could find. But like, I think in terms of that podcast thing, when we actually did the Cryo Show, it was actually they got better, because then we moved on to other topics, talking about like our idols, and then I think we did one on Coke versus Pepsi, which one was better, and we each argued from either Coke or Pepsi, and that one was better than like the first one. The first one was absolutely terrible.
But I will say, for the Coke and Pepsi one, we weren't even prepared because we were just reading facts about them on the spot, like that we looked up on Google or something.
Well, you can very obviously see us in the video looking on our phones, like, and reading the facts. Like, we could have done it a lot better, but, you know, it is what it is. But the reason we called it the Cryo Show was because at the time our band had been called Cryogenesis, and so we just kind of, oh, that'd be a cool name, Cryo Show. That fits, and that's just what it was. But we have changed our name since then, so that is no longer the case. But yeah, that channel was very interesting, to say the least. But we would even do like these little vlog type videos where we're like, hey, look, we're writing a new song, or like, hey, we're in the car, we know we haven't had a video, but it's coming out soon, and stuff like that. It was just very interesting. Very, very interesting. But, I mean, if
Did you mention the little skits we would put up there, too?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about those. Yeah, so, like, I think we tried to make the Cryo Show channel, like, an all-around, just, like, everything. So we had, like, music and vlogs and skits and stuff. It was just, it wasn't very narrowed down. So we had these little skits. And I remember 4 of them. 4 skits. 3 skits, 1 short film. So the first one was like some weird hostage situation that had no end. It was like to be continued. And it was like dark and creepy, and it was like the first time we used like a bunch of different camera angles, and then it just ended. People wanted more, we just never did anything more. Second one was... What was the second one?
Wasn't it that one really awkward silence type thing where you would... Wasn't it awkward silence?
No. Delayed reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a skit called Delayed Reactions. And basically the premise behind it was I was someone who had very, very delayed reflexes in terms of talking. So he would come up and say hi, and it would take me forever to process and say hi back. So by the time I say hi, he says, "What's up?" And we kind of say it at the same time. So then it gets really awkward, and I'm interrupting him, and it's just kind of a really weird thing. It was really awkward, but it was awkward on purpose. And I think we did pretty good, and that's actually something that we could go back and look at. Because if you guys want to see any of these videos and see us like watching them, that's kind of something I've thought about before, is us going back and looking at that stuff. So if you want to see that and see some of these skits and stuff, let me know, because we can maybe make it happen. And then beyond that one, we did Sammy the Clown.
That one is still public.
It is? Okay, so I think I've mentioned it before, actually, in a Sinister-Cast or something at some point, but I don't consider this a skit. I consider this like a little tiny short film, almost. Because skits are kind of like supposed to be funny or satirical, and this was like a serious, for the most part, serious type of thing that we worked pretty hard to do. So if you're saying it's still public, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys can look up Sammy the Clown, Sammy the Clown, and
The thumbnail is a little axe.
is it okay? And the thumbnail is like an axe on the floor, like a hatchet on the floor. And you can go look that up and go watch it, and that's like a short little thing. And basically, the whole premise behind that one is that some killer clown dude like broke out of prison, and he's going around killing people, but he breaks into my house, and like I'm running away from him, and the various ways that I try to run away from him and all that fun stuff. It's got a twist at the end. So go watch it. It's not going to benefit us in any way for you to go watch it, but it's just something interesting for you to go watch if you want to. But I remember it was something we were really proud of at the time.
Yeah.
Like,
especially there's a fighting scene in there that looks pretty cool.
yeah, that was the first time. That's when my editing skills started. Like, I started trying new things with like a whole fighting scene and making things look more impactful and adding sound effects and stuff like that. But yeah, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was obviously, it had it could have been done better, but I think it was pretty good for what we had and what we were doing.
Because I think I either spent the night at your place and we recorded it that morning, or I just came over really early and we were thinking of video ideas to do, and like we came up with this video idea. And I think, yeah, it was in the morning because we just started recording, and then your brother woke up, and then you had him record some of the camera angles.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is why we had some cool camera angles going on.
Yeah. So yeah. That makes sense, because in the beginning it was, so he was dressed as the clown. Daniel here was Sammy the Clown, and I was me. And so like when there were scenes that needed him in it, I recorded it with the camera, and when there were scenes that needed me in it, he recorded it. So we were going back and forth with the camera. And eventually we got my brother to hop in and be the cameraman, and that helped it to like blossom and become better, because like he said, we do have some pretty cool camera angles and stuff in there, and that helped a lot with the story. But yeah, that was the time period, like I've mentioned before, where my editing skills started kind of getting better. I mean, some of you guys just wonder how I edit the videos that I do now and stuff like that. And it's not like something that I just, bam, had. I mean, I did the channel with him first, and then I did my gaming channel and stuff. So I had a lot of editing under my belt before I started Sinister Bunny Studios. So that kind of helped out a lot. But, okay, so now I kind of want to move on a little bit. You guys, this is going to be a longer Sinister-Cast. I know you're probably not going to complain, so just watch. But I feel like we should do kind of like an interview type thing now at this point, just asking some questions, because I have thought of some since we've been talking. We did not come very prepared with anything. We just said, let's talk. So why don't you tell everyone like what you like playing and what you like to do in terms of music and listening to and all that fun stuff.
All right, so like what I like playing as in music or instruments?
Both. Either or.
Okay, so instrument-wise, I mainly stick to drums and guitar, mostly drums though. and sometimes piano. Um, and I guess music wise, for what I like playing, is I'm all over the place like every day. It'll go from like this really soft indie rock to like this really hard hitting like deathcore type stuff. And but recently it's been more on the like pop punk side, like the story so far, neck deep, just like really not well known bands. And let's see, what was another question you wanted me to answer?
What hmm. Let's move on to like what whoa, what was that face about?
I'm just very interested in what you have to say.
Yeah. Uh so you answered what you like to play, what you do play and stuff like that. So what was it like when we made the band and stuff and we were writing things? Like how did you think about writing music at that time?
Okay, so real quick, I remember what you were talking about when we first got together and jammed. I remember it being very awkward that first day because I was on the drum set and I was looking at you. I was like, so like, what are we gonna play? And you were like, I don't know. And I was like, well, what do you know? And uh, you were like, I know Megadeth. Like, you were just naming off like thrash songs you knew. And I was like, I only know like Symphony of Destruction. And I think we played that. And then after that, we were like, well, what do we do now? And, but yeah, so you were saying, what was it? The things we did with our band at first, how we
Yeah.
recorded music.
Yeah.
Okay, um, so you would come up to me with some riff ideas and concepts, and I would listen to them and say, okay, uh, usually they were like kind of generic drum beats at first, and then eventually we would change them up to fit something cool in the song. And sometimes I would shoot out ideas like, hey, if you did this with the riff, or you would say, hey, this would sound cool with the drums. And eventually we got very progressive at the end, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
Like we always put in odd time signatures and like weird polyrhythm drum beats, which was cool. I think that stuff was, I like that stuff more than when we first started writing.
Yeah,
But
when we first started writing stuff, a lot of it was ideas that I had, like he was saying, that we turned into songs and stuff. And at that time, a lot of my stuff was really like I was trying to write like Megadeth and stuff like that. So it was very thrashy, type stuff. It was dark and thrashy and whatever. But like he said, eventually we started getting very progressive, like very progressive. I don't think many of our songs aren't progressive. I think we only
yeah,
have
I
a
think we
few.
found our sound pretty quick. It was like almost like it would always be progressive and then have this cool little thrashy section in it.
Yeah,
So,
it was like like thrashy progressive metal kind of. It, I think we only have like two songs that are actually in 4/4 or that stay in the same time signature through the whole thing, cuz otherwise everything else is just it just kind of was everywhere.
yeah.
But we added all these cool stuff and we'd play in different tunings and stuff like that. I know we had songs at E standard, D standard, drop D, and C standard.
See. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really, I got recordings of it. I mean, a lot of times what I would do when I would go over there is I would set this up because if you guys don't know this Zoom H2N, it can record in like surround sound, like 360 around it. So if you record it, if you start recording on this and walk in a circle around it and talk to it, when you listen back to it, it's going to sound like someone's walking around you and talking to you. So I would just set this in the middle of the room and then we would play. So I've got a lot of recordings of us playing, a lot. Because when we were first starting out, like I said, I would just set it in the middle and then we would just jam. I remember I would just call them jam sessions because we wouldn't even have any idea of what we were doing. You would just start playing a drum beat and then I would go off of it, and then we would just kind of go with the flow from there. And a lot of times that's how we
I remember, yeah, there was this one cool time we were playing. You were in drop D, and you were playing this kind of cool groovy riff, and like I started playing, and something clicked, and we did like, and we both had the exact same idea, like on the spot, and like we made it happen. There's probably a recording of it on there because afterwards we were like, that was sick, and like I think like I forget like exactly what it was because it was like so long ago.
What
But
did we hit it? Well, what was it at the same time? Was it just the idea, or was it a stop, or what was it?
that is a question. I don't think it was a stop. It was like, it might have been like I was doing something cool on the drums and we would stop and then kick back in at the same time. Like it happened perfectly. It was cool.
Yeah, I kind of remember something like that, but I don't know exactly what it was.
There's definitely a recording of it if you have all of
Yeah.
them
Oh my
saved.
God. Yeah, I do. There's a lot of them though. That's the thing. There's a lot of them. We'd have to go and sift through
Yeah.
them because I know I keep everything, like my hard drives are full of just stuff. Like I don't usually get rid of very much. And I have a lot of those recordings of us playing and stuff, but a lot of times it'd be like 30-minute recordings and like 2 minutes of it have cool stuff in it. And I keep the whole thing for those 2 minutes. Like I'm not going to go through and edit it down to those whatever. I can listen back to stuff and be like, oh, that's a cool riff, and then go off from there. It's not, it's kind of
Yeah.
stupid, but it is what it is. But now, like I said, we've been wanting to record some of our stuff, but we just got to get into it. And the question is how we go about doing that. Because I'd want you guys to see the stuff we write, but I don't know if necessarily I would put it out here or if we'd create a separate thing and put it out there. But we're working on it. It's just going to take some time. And eventually, like I said, I'll have to get him on a couple of videos and we'll go back and look at. Oh no. I'm going to be very angry if that just happened or if it's been like this the entire time. But my camera just stopped recording. So I'm going to hit record again and sync it up because I don't know when it stopped. But it stopped. It was recording, but it stopped. So
You don't remember when it stopped?
I was just looking at it and it was going. I don't know if it just stopped because it.
I remember you checking not too long ago.
Yeah.
So it must have been pretty soon.
Yeah, but whatever. You guys have no video for 2 seconds there. It's back now. It should be good. But yeah, man, it's been an
Yeah.
interesting road. And then I remember we would do stupid little video stuff and put them up on Facebook too. Like I remember we did a video with either my phone or your phone, and it was one long shot. And we worked on it forever.
Oh. Was it when you like walked into my house and then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was cool.
Yeah, we did this little video thing where it was one long continuous shot and everything was happening. And it took forever to choreograph it right, to get things right. But it was cool. And then we did another one that was like a creepy, like your house was haunted thing. And you were like experiencing all these paranormal things.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool because we did some interesting stuff with that. So a lot of cool, like, jump cuts into things that would make it seem creepy. It's hard to like explain it in words. You'd have to see it to understand what I'm saying. But yeah.
But that one was tricky because we had to get it right. Like if we were halfway through the video, we had to get it right because all you were doing was pressing pause on your record on your phone. So, like, once you start recording, we either have to ditch the whole thing or
yeah. So
yeah, I guess
I was
going with it.
Like I said, I was using my phone and we were trying not to edit it or anything. So a lot of phones now, when you're recording a video, you can hit pause instead of stop. So that's what we would use to switch to a different camera angle. We'd go through and be like, okay, hit pause. And then we'd be like, okay, set up for the next spot. Play. Record. Pause. Okay, move over here, go to the next thing. Play, pause, and then do that like a million times to get it all together. And say we get to the very last shot of the video and we fuck it up. That whole thing is ruined. And we have to do it from the beginning because of the way we were doing it. Now, I don't think that was the smartest way to do it, but it was like a challenge. It was a cool, like, filmmaking challenge, but we were able to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then, when I shut down my old gaming channel and then started Sinister Bunny Studios, I remember saying something to him, and he has a little tidbit of how the channel got its name, because I was talking to him about how I wanted to start a new channel, and I was trying to think of names for it and stuff, right? And I've told you guys that the channel's name started kind of as a joke, and then I just went with it. Because I was talking to him, and I was like, I want Sinister in it somewhat. And we were going back and forth, and I remember I just kind of threw out the idea of Sinister Bunny Studios. And we were both like, yeah, ha, 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 ha. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to go with it, because it sounded good. And that's just kind of how it happened. And then I went with it. And then that summer, I wanted to have like a video to debut the channel. I didn't want to just start the channel. I migrated the Dose of Metal from my gaming channel over to this one, but I didn't want those to be the first videos. So I wanted to have a debut thing. And then we did the Mary Had a Little Lamb cover. I went to him and I was like, listen, I want to debut my new channel with a cover. I want to do a metal cover. And he was like, well, what of? And we were thinking of different things, and I was like, Mary Had a Little Lamb. And at first, you didn't want to do it.
No, I thought it sounded like really overdone, but then he sent me his demo track with the guitar and MIDI drums, and I was like, you know what? This seems like it has some pretty interesting stuff about it. We'll see what's going on, and then I guess it's now the final production that you hear in the video, so...
Yeah, I think
that being really cool.
Yeah, I think it turned out actually really well. But I remember that because he was like, "No, that's stupid. I don't want to do Mary Had a Little Lamb. What are you thinking? That's stupid." And I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway." And I was just sitting there, using Cubase, editing it, recording it, using stupid MIDI drums, and then, like I said, like he was saying, I sent it to him, and he was like, "Oh, okay." Oh my God, this is terrible, you guys. You might have to run. You're gonna have to run the rest of this thing. We'll wrap it up here, but this is gonna have to end out the video because my camera overheated. Hooray! It's always awesome. But yeah. So then we debuted. I debuted Mary Had a Little Lamb. It took us 2 days to shoot.
Yeah, but we wore the same clothes to make it seem like it was all in one shoot.
Yeah, you gotta have continuity. And so we took 2 days. We went out to this field, and we shot the video for it. And
it ended up being covered on some other dude's channel.
Yeah, listen. Let's not mention this again because listen, I followed this guy for a while. So there was this bigger channel. He had like over 1,000 subs, and he did some weird thing where he would review people's covers, and we got a position on one of it with the Mary Had a Little Lamb cover. And I remember sending it to him like, oh, Daniel, look at this, we got on someone's thing, they got like over 1,000 subscribers and they like really liked our thing. And I don't think I've told you, Daniel, but I followed them still. And they've changed their name like 3 times, and it's a to me it's a dead end channel because they don't get very good views for what they have in terms of subscribers. I get more views than them. And yeah, it just
going nowhere then.
They tried to do gaming into it and all these really weird things. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or anything, but the guy doesn't have a very good voice. I'm not saying I have the best voice or anything, but he does not have a very good voice. It's very weird and not in a good way. And it's just, I think the reason they have all those subscribers is because they did sub for sub or they bought them. So yeah, but that was still cool having someone like our thing and enough to put it in one of their videos. And also, I never told you either, Daniel. There was back when I was like, every once in a while I'll search Sinister Bunny Studios in like an incognito tab just to see what comes up. And this video came up of a guy playing like League of Legends. And he just started playing Mary Had a Little Lamb in the background, sitting there playing. He was like, "Oh wow, this is really sweet," and listening to it. And I was like, should I say something to this guy like you like took my song? Or I ended up commenting on there like, "Hey, glad you liked the song," just so he kind of knew like that I knew that he had it, kind of thing. But it was still interesting because he just kind of found it randomly.
Wait, was it? So it was a video on YouTube?
Yeah, there was some guy playing League of Legends, and it was playing the Mary Had a Little Lamb cover in the background. And he was
Did it
just
have like a decent amount of views on the video, or like?
I have no idea. I don't know. I doubt it. I don't think it was anything crazy, but yeah, it was.
That's funny.
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And then we moved on since then, and I have him play on covers and some songs and stuff like that. And I still plan on using him for some stuff down the road. And it's just, like I said, it's a scheduling issue that we have to figure it out. But, you know.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah. So maybe we can kind of wind this down now. Maybe I want to have you guys actually see me for the end here, so I'm going to clap it up for you guys so you have the video again. And now you can see me again after my camera overheats like, what, 3 times now. But yeah, I think we'll kind of wrap this up. So, Daniel, thank you for coming on. Thanks for being the first guest of Sinister-Cast ever. Who knows how this is going to do.
Yeah.
If you guys like this kind of thing or not, I know it's going to be kind of an extended Sinister-Cast because, well, it's been quite a while already. I can definitely have him on again if you guys want. Have him come on for some other videos looking at some of our old material in terms of songs, recordings, our old channel and stuff like that. So definitely let me know if you guys want to see that. And Daniel, let the people know if you want, if and where they can find you. If you want, I'll give you the floor.
Well, so far they can't really find me anywhere, except maybe Facebook if they wanted. But our old channel that we were actually talking about is now under a different name that I might end up reviving soon to put up some of my own content. So if I do, I'll let Virgil know, and maybe he'll let you guys know, and that'll be maybe a fun ride if it happens, which I want it to. So basically that.
You guys got some more metal coming your way. I'll just let you know that too. But yeah, like I said, thanks for coming on. This was definitely interesting, something different for Sinister-Cast.
And thanks for having me.
You now have the honor of being the first Sinister-Cast guest in history. So,
man,
congratulations. And
I got my trophy coming from 3 to 5 business days. So,
God damn it! And I'm gonna end this now because my camera shut off again. So you guys are gonna have no video for the outro. This is perfect. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. So thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I and Daniel will see you in the next video.